Bam! Welcome to the crow's nest, Sean.
I am in the crow's nest right now.
So yeah, you are.
That. Woo!
Another week, PitchIT Live. Excited to be here again. Sean, you were coming live from Atlanta, CompTIA ChannelCon.
That is correct. It has been, my goodness, to say it's been a busy, ridiculously successful week would be an understatement, man. First off, I love CompTIA. I love ChannelCon. I love CompTIA as an organization. I've been involved with it for forever. I refer all of the vendors that are in PitchIT to CompTIA because it's a great community involved in to get you an understanding of how to work in the space, right? And yep. CompTIA has such a strong reputation for the betterment that if CompTIA accepts you and lets you be part of things, you're guilty by association, right? Which is good. I mean, because they do a very good job of vetting you out. You have to do a lot of work. Like this week alone, I'm the co-chair of the Data Advisory Council. So I have meetings and deliverables for content creation for educational purposes with a whole group of people, which is really fun to do because it's a bunch of experts from different various backgrounds in the room. Also, actually, in exactly an hour and 15 minutes, I will be on stage for a panel discussion about data and the application. So that's that. But yeah, no, it is. But it's a great way. It's a great opportunity for vendors to get together, to meet other vendors, to get into a space that's not people selling to each other, but actually talking about best practices and education and how to better the space as a whole. So it's really a good time, man. It's really a good place. It's a good organization to be involved in. And we have 8 vendors here from this year's PitchIT class that have booths there.
Pretty awesome.
And they all co-sponsored. They all got together. I keep saying the word sponsored, but it's not sponsored. They all got together, collaborated, and invested in building their brands and having a really kick-ass party. If people have not seen the post coming out from me and from the Crow's Nest Threat Captain and all that with the videos and the pictures, it's been like phenomenal. It's been a really good experience. Probably one of my best ones yet.
Awesome. Yeah, and so every week, Sean and I, we come face to face with these various different innovators, I call them, and in the MSP space, and giving you a really front row seat to the groundbreaking solution they're bringing, solving those particular gaps, and really hearing the inspiring stories behind really getting things, changed in the industry, moving the industry forward. And today's no exception because I really like to have Alex from Strategy Overview come on, and he's been around for a while as well, and just joined PitchIT this year. But while you're on this, we can go into that here in a second. Sure.
Okay, go with your question. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, well, before we bring on Alex, I was going to ask you, being in PitchIT, what is that all about?
That's a great question, Adam. I'm glad you thought about it before I did, and was going to ask it, but I rudely interrupted. So, PitchIT, very simple Shark Tank-like competition that IT Nation put on. This is our 6th year in the running. The goal is to get the most innovative vendors. Also, and we use innovative. And I think people confuse innovative with being like some sort of groundbreaking thing that we've ever heard of. But innovation comes within improvements of existing tools as well, or processes and procedures. You innovate. Innovation comes in many different ways. So the goal of it is to have the vendors come in, be part of the program, and they're all competing to become one of the 3 finalists that show up at IT Nation Connect November 5th, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, room to be determined. And when they do, they're going for $70,000 grand prize.
Wow. Second place?
Right. Wow. 30,000. Third place, Marvin B. Steak Knives.
I mean, let's try to go for the win. I mean, it's a lot. It's a bit, obviously. So, but I want to make sure, Sean, I think you had Keith in your room. Is he around?
He is now on the balcony having a cigar.
Okay. Well, we'll keep him out there, keep him at bay. So
I'm looking at him talking. He's good where he is. He's gainfully employed, not bothering me anymore. But he can replace me. I can just go. I have other things to do.
Oh, definitely. Let's not do that. But the reason I bring this up is because this isn't just a show. This is an interactive experience, as I like to call it, right?
Yes.
And Keith, I know, is always on every single week asking really good questions. And so drop some questions in the chat. Share this video. Share it. Sean and I will be, and keep an eye on the comments and bringing you kind of those insights and ask those questions. So without further ado, I want to bring on Alex. Alex, where is he at? There he is. How you doing,
Hey,
man?
everybody. How are you? How's it going?
Doing pretty good. So tell us a little bit about strategy over here. What do you guys do?
All right. So we built a VCIO QBR platform. It's the easiest, most flexible platform on the market. And we do asset reporting with warranty updating, Office 365 reporting, and kind of displaying it all in a beautiful client portal. So that's what we do. Give you a lot of really critical information at the fingertips for VCIOs, account managers, and people that lead digital transformation strategies for clients.
Awesome.
So question then, when you're talking about the reporting, what type, and you mentioned like Office 365 and all this, what does that mean exactly? What kind of reporting do you get from that?
So an VCIO or an MSP or a client can log in and see all of their computers with age, all of their managed users, all their Office 365 licenses grouped by license type,
Okay.
and which license associates to each contact. If a particular license or email has MFA enabled or not, and they could see it in like a interactive PowerPoint style view or a PDF or just on the web.
Okay. Now, and so this is all coming to one place. Is this also fall into the realm of most of, for me, the self motivation is the ConnectWise user, right? So does this integrate with ConnectWise first?
Yes, so it integrates with ConnectWise. Essentially, somewhat replaces the ConnectWise portal if people want to, because there's a lot more. There's tickets in there as well. So it integrates with ConnectWise, pulls in all the companies, pulls in all the assets, and then now it's pulling in tickets, and you can reply from tickets right in there as well. Kind of like a really streamlined ticket portal. But it's the one that I've run an MSP for a long time. It's out of all the client portals that I've seen, it's the most kind of intuitive for ticket management that I've seen.
Okay.
Nice.
And then I have one question. I'm done. Why did you build this? And I'm done. I promise.
So we built it because I'm a tech from like childhood. I got on technology in '92, first computer, Windows 3.1, and then was tinkering with computers for my whole childhood. Started selling computers in the early 2000s, helping clients move to Windows XP. Started an MSP. Then I've gone to probably like 10 IT nations, been uh, taking everything Paul Dipple has said, joined HTG, moved to managed services in 2009, right? Bought ConnectWise, bought LabTech, bought QuoteWorks, like the whole nine, right? And then basically, when we were pulling clients over to managed services, in 2009, we had about 200, 300 break fix customers, right? That we've accumulated over the initial period. So when we started switching them to managed services, we needed to, and we're saying, okay, we're going to support everything with unlimited support. We need to standardize your stack. So we had this whiteboard in the office, and we wrote all the clients that were switching to our managed services plan, like signing contracts. And we said, let's standardize their servers, backups, firewalls, email systems. Those four main items to like, because if you're taking on a client and they have a server that's about to collapse, you can ruin an entire weekend telling them to support it unlimitedly, right? So then eventually it became a spreadsheet, and I would run the onboardings for clients when they would come in. I was an engineer, then I did the projects, right? And I would run the onboarding. I had this spreadsheet that I built. It's kind of like a home inspector. If you ever go in and buy a home, you check off this, you check off this, because you want to know what you're buying. Right? So I had the spreadsheet that I built with all these stack components, and it worked amazing. And a number of fast growing clients really loved it because we started showing it to them and said, look, we standardized this. What's next? What's next? So then the spreadsheet evolved. They had a roadmap section, an executive summary section. We had a number of like larger companies that wanted a full 12-month budget ahead of time. So we did a budget section, but all of our client spreadsheets started looking slightly different. It was difficult to keep them all aligned, and it took way too long. And we started having multiple VCIOs at that time. So we couldn't, everyone's language that they use was a little bit different. So we looked at every app on the market. We couldn't find anything. So we built it internally for our MSP. It saved us a ton of time. We kind of showed our HCG group. A bunch of members jumped on it. And then we said, this is the market needs this. So a year later, we pivoted and spun it off as a separate company. And today we have a lot of top tier MSPs on the platform. It's been 7 years later.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's pretty incredible story. I like hearing that. And right, coming from an MSP, struggling with these, Excel documents and check boxes, and just like, it's like all this manual work.
Mhm.
Now imagine the platform as it integrated. You want to talk about the tech behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, so the first platform we built was the beta platform, and then we spun it out into version 1. Right, and that was it. We actually got our first like 100 people jumped on it real quick, and a lot of them are still with us today from like 7 years ago. I did a breakout at IT Nation on how to be like BCIO excellence and how to kickstart that. It was like 7 years ago at this point. So we got a really fast jump, and people started using the platform. But we very quickly realized that when you have a lot of daily users that are relying on the platform, we couldn't start making changes much quicker, right? So we realized we needed to build the platform up and stabilize it, which we did. And then but we realized that the architecture wasn't scalable for long term. So then we took about a year to rebuild the platform parallel to version 3 and launched it with Angular, like Microsoft DevOps, .NET, and now we have like alpha environment, beta. We have 3 alphas, 3 betas. Like we built a full blown like environment for scale. So that's been a lot of learning and a lot of trial and error in the last like 7 years. So that's the technology behind it. And then we last year we initially built our first integration was with ConnectWise, and then we launched Autotask, Halo, Synchro, Kaseya BMS. Just launched IT Glue integration like a week ago. So we have a bunch of the key core integrations, and a lot of other apps can integrate with just embeds and other strategic ways to put it into the app.
Nice, awesome, Sean.
I was actually, I have all of the PitchIT people in this room right now. They're all coming in to hang out. I'm like, shut your fucking faces. Anyway.
Nice.
Okay. No, I'm glad. I was happy to hear about all the integrations until you named all the integrations, but I'm glad to hear that though, actually. My question really comes into play is integrations are important, but it comes down to seamlessness, right? Of using things. So, differentiator, there's a lot of, you're essentially a QBR platform in the long run, right? I mean, that's what it is. Account management uses you, sales of some sort uses you. What's the differentiator between you and the other ones that exist today? Because there's quite a bit out there, including we have our own, not QBR, but we have dashboards, because that's what leads to, which is like Breakage. So where's your differentiator between all those?
So the differentiators, we built a really powerful template engine. So you can make any type of report, Brightgauge, you can stream Brightgauge in our app, and you can deploy it at scale and standardize all your client QBRs in one easy to use way. That's the main differentiator. Is our template is the cleanest, easiest to use, most flexible on the market. The other differentiator, I think, from what people have told us that have switched from other apps, we're the fastest. Like to fill out a strategy overview report, to identify a risk, takes seconds, and it's also the most like intuitive for MSPs because we built it for our MSP. So it's really simple, right, and agile. Whereas some platforms, I think there's like multi-step and like you have to jump through hoops. And whereas with us, you can just add a customer, press new report, and it takes us an assessment from that. You get our template that we built for our MSP out of the box, and just start doing assessments live. Anything that's not applicable, we just hide, and then you just can deploy a quick report very fast.
Sure. Okay, so let's talk about that admin customer because I'm very curious. Is that going to be from the PSA that being pushed into this, or is that coming from? Are they working in your platform?
You can add a customer in our platform and then sync with the PSA, or if they're already in your PSA, which most likely they will be, you just import them. There's one import button, and then once they come in, all their assets, their tickets, their contacts, everything streams, and then it stays in sync afterwards.
Okay. So is it best practice that some people will work out of your platform then, like the account managers then?
Yeah, I mean, we have a ton of people that just which is probably one of the most, like, I don't know, amazing things to see that there are people that literally get hired to run strategy overview. They work within strategy overview and they build a digital transformation plan and they just update that. So I've talked to a whole bunch of people. It's like their job, and they've come from other platforms and they come from doing it manually, and they're so it's like ecstatic because if you've ever done this manually or used a platform that was never adopted well, and you actually do it and show your clients the report and they sign up for like they see the vision that you're trying to paint, that's satisfying. So yes, a lot of people just work in the platform. I mean, you still need ConnectWise and some other tools, right? But the core kind of strategic planning and painting the vision for the client is done all on the platform.
Awesome.
Got it.
So my
What's
question,
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, I gotta ask one question. That's just because I'm sure people are thinking this because I'm thinking this. What's the title of the person they're hiring to run this? What is their responsibility? What is
Yeah.
their overall
So,
title?
yeah, every MSP, like they call them different titles. VCIO is the more, I guess, evolved one. A lot of MSPs are still on technical account manager. If I had to kind of rethink it from the ground up, I would say maybe strategy guide or strategy manager, right? Somebody that's managing strategy for the client, or IT strategy manager.
Yeah.
But really, account manager, TAM, VCIO, all those.
Okay.
That's the role that runs it.
Okay, cool. I'm done. Sorry, Adam.
That's all good. Well, that's what I was going to go to is, what type of MSPs are really suited for your particular product? Like, we talking 2-user shops? Or are we talking, I probably need to have at least 20 employees or 20 users? Who's usually ready for your particular product?
So to be honest, everybody, every MSP, and here's why. So on the small side, right? If you're a startup MSP, you can supercharge the VCIO platform. I mean, we have a month-to-month plan. It's $45 a month for 5 companies. So you could do VCIO, get our template that we built, and within 5 minutes do a QBR, right? So a mature QBR. Like our template, we've run it in our MSP on 1-user companies and publicly traded companies. And at this point, that template is now being used. There are whole cities being run in strategy overview, like large corporations. So the point is that it's anyone could take the template. It's very flexible. Anything that's not applicable, you just hide, right? So a small MSP can kickstart the VCIO process in minutes with no contracts and no commitments. So that's great. On the medium size, definitely as you start evolving the reports, like we have people that come with these large PowerPoints that they've built over many years, and it takes a little time, and they'll recreate their PowerPoint in strategy overview, but then they can replicate it at scale to every client. So medium-sized MSPs do really well, and on the large side, we have a chunk of top 100 MSPs, so people that have like 50, 60 users working within the app, right? So like the largest MSP in Canada, one of the largest MSPs in Australia. Like we have MSPs all over. So large MSPs like the product too because they can stay standardized across. Let's say 20 people are doing QBRs. All of the QBRs are basically in the same structure, which is really nice.
Oh, awesome.
So you're standardizing the templates for them?
Correct. Yeah. So I mean, they get our template out of the box, and they can refine it and adjust it for their MSP. So they change the items, change the sort order. Imagine like smart sheets on steroids.
Is it permission based?
Yeah, and permission based. Yeah. So you can control things with groups. Each client can have as many groups as possible. So you can group clients in like, are the A, B, and C clients by region, by VCIO, and then it controls the group. So definitely you can have different VCIOs have access to different groups.
So you can assign it to one admin in your client, in your company that you're the partner, and then they can assess and deliver permissions based off of whatever to each one of their subordinates, whatever that, and however they see, however their structures are relevant.
Correct. And then even the client, so you can control which modules they see as well. So, and then you can invite the point of contacts. Right now, the system is primarily based for point of contacts to log in and be able to see their strategy live, see all their assets, see all their contacts, like see all their data. And then, and you can control what they see, if they're an editor or not. So it's very, very granular permissions.
And one of the biggest pieces here that we see challenges with is people not knowing when they're supposed to renew things. So will the clients get notification alerts as to, hey, don't forget your your Microsoft 365 is about to expire, so you need to renew or something. Is anything
Not
like that?
yet. We will have some kind of renewal engine. Right now, we recommend people use like either IT Glue or ConnectWise configs with workflows, because not everything could,
Okay.
even if you use other platforms, they still can't capture everything. So that's the current best practice recommendation. But yeah, down the road, ideally, creating one unified view for renewals will be great. Like we're launching our NCE Office 365 component in like 2 months.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see all the Office 365 licenses when they're expiring, and then eventually to add in like an alert engine on that.
So is it an automated process then, or is it a manual process rather for today that the MSP rep should be monitoring when renewals are due and plugging it into your system then?
No, so our system checks in with HP, HPE, Dell, Lenovo, Acer, and Asus, pulls in all their warranty information, the purchase date, puts in the age of the computer, and with Microsoft, it has a sync with Graph API, so
Okay.
it pulls that info in. The current process is a VCIO would essentially do a quarterly review or a yearly review, and when they're seeing like certain computers are up for they're to retiring, they will submit that list. Parallel to this process, I recommend MSPs have BrightGauge and send clients an email monthly with a list of all their computers and users as well. That's our current best process recommendation. So then
Got it.
clients can get the monthly email, and then they also get the quarterly kind of touch from the VCIO. Any other renewals like SSLs and all that other stuff, that should just be handled normally by the professional services team or centralized services team at MSPs. Like that's not really for VCIOs to get
Yeah.
into the weeds of, contacting people about SSLs and stuff like that, and
So
warranties and stuff.
do you coach and consult MSPs to help them understand the VCIO process to utilize your platform better or more efficiently?
Yeah, we've done a couple of cool webinars that were attended by a lot of people, and a lot of people saw them, and they've gotten a lot of positive feedback. They're recorded and they're in the knowledge base, so that's nice. Like how to kickstart a VCIO process. I did one with C Level a while back with Rex. Like just kind of take a VCIO process start to finish. I've done one where how do you take a company from a startup to enterprise and like a massive exit? Because in our MSP we did that multiple times. Um, and then definitely there's a live chat in the app. So people are chatting and asking VCIO MSP questions, and we're just chit chatting with MSPs all across the world all the time, which is also pretty fun. Like, so we talk about other stuff, and then people book time with me, show like they say, here's our current process. What would you evolve? And after kind of evolving a VCIO process for 10 years and then doing this for the last 7, I have a decent amount of knowledge on like how to streamline the VCIO process for modern MSPs.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, because I think the biggest deficit and we've been talking about this for years, is MSPs converting from a technology company to a sales organization to a degree, and of course they all hate that, right? But that's what pays your bills. And if you don't transition into that, nobody knows that you can help them because nobody's talking to anybody. But I think the struggle all these years has been centralized understanding of information and how to put it together and then execute on it, which is exactly what you guys do, it sounds like.
Yeah, and I would even say like we start saying even to the VCIOs that are using the platform, you're not in sales. We're in just strategic guidance, and like the buzzword a while back was digital transformation. Now I say just digital journey, right? So MSPs are there to help clients go down their digital journey. They help manage it, they help time it, they help figure out which vendors and partners to interact with. So in out of that, a lot of sales fall out. But you should never really sell anything if it's not beneficial for the customer from a risk reduction perspective, right? Or increases their efficiency. It's, even if you wind up selling it, it's not a great sale, right? You
Right.
want to just guide them on that strategy. And yes, a ton of projects. Our app is a project machine. It's a project and evolution machine.
So do you work with project management platforms then too?
Well, ConnectWise, the ConnectWise projects are not in there yet. We're hoping to launch it by IT Nation. so you can see all your kind of a view of projects. Right now, we recommend showing the list of projects on a Brightgauge report, but in the app soon, you'll see a list of projects, so a client could even see the progress of the project live. To click the project, see the state, the percentage complete, see the status on tickets, stuff like that. So essentially, our product sits before project management, even before opportunities. It's kind of like a area where you can plan things, and then once the client says, "Yeah, you know what? Let's move on that this quarter," then you spend the time to create the opportunity and the project, and so it saves a ton of pre-sales and sales engineering, like an astronomical amount of sales engineering time by being able to stage and do light budgeting in the app, and only take it to an opportunity when it's ready.
Got it. I really appreciate that. I think the other thing is, which is I don't even think a known fact of struggle was tracking billable hours in a project. That is always where a downfall occurs. Now, obviously, part of it is due to the fact that some of the technicians they don't sometimes do their job and plug it in. They go do the work, but they don't do the due diligence and entering, right?
Yeah.
So, but then the next is presenting it. So, do you guys have the ability to adjust on that, or like there are some, like I know there's some companies out there like Movila, for instance, that does project management. They do a really good job with it. They have a lot of automated pieces to this, right? So in that instance, and I'm not sure if you looked into them at all yet, but maybe you should.
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay, like if they're automating that, are those hours being pushed over into this for like a
Yeah,
proposal
they would be
template?
pushed over, yep, to be
Okay.
able to see.
Yep.
So whatever's in ConnectWise or in the PSAs will stream over. So essentially, strategy overview is like a really strategic view of only the things you want to show clients and VCIOs. So you can pick and choose which columns you want to pull over and how you display it. So it's a really streamlined view of tickets, of assets, Office 365 licenses, like a real streamlined view.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm sorry, Adam, I took over the whole.
It's all good. And yeah, and part of the journey that I'm hearing and all that stuff, I'm just sounds like, you have to have an MSP. Sounds like it's probably best that you have a VCIO or have somebody who's doing that in between account management type thing in an MSP, right? Um, with that, I'm guessing coaching that VCIO has probably maybe been some of the biggest challenges. What has been the biggest challenge you've faced so far growing strategy?
The biggest challenge is definitely MSPs that are there's a lot of MSPs out there still don't have proper documentation systems. The OML level of MSPs is still interesting when you start talking across like the world and country, right? So I think that there's definitely you need to have some level of operational maturity. And like if you listen to Paul Dipple stuff or any HEG or ConnectWise Evolve stuff, right? You start to very quickly realize what you need to get together to actually run a successful high gross margin MSP, right? So
Yep.
that's been I think the biggest challenge. It's been much easier now. Like when we first launched, there's a lot of MSPs that were doing none of this. Now we're seeing a lot of MSPs that have been running it in different platforms inefficiently or on Excel for many years, and now they're ready to jump on the platform.
Awesome. Awesome. And so, what's kind of so we talked about the challenge, but what's been like some pretty big milestones throughout creating your organization strategy overview?
Yeah, I think like launching version 3, which was we rebuilt the app from the ground up,
Okay.
building a team, a standalone team, because we were originally I started with my brother, who's like a little bit older than me. He comes from big Fortune 500 software development, like financial services here in the New York City area. So he's built mega platforms, right? So he's a CTO and he helped build the first version of the app. So we were doing it ourselves, basically building the first version. We had a couple of developers that were doing like some UI components, but then building a full blown team, that was a big milestone. Like we did on the MSP side. Like once you really get an MSP stood up where people aren't wearing a million hats and you have a solid, group of people that know what they're doing. We're now several years into that on the strategy overview side. I think that was a big piece. And then getting like just the back end stuff. Like people don't realize, just like an MSP, you an MSP's clients don't realize all that goes into running a successful IT infrastructure, right? They just think, let's get our computers working. They don't know that there's this massive ecosystem of apps and consultants and everything to help them actually
Mhm.
get there to run that. They get in every morning, the computer turns on and it has like patched and all that stuff, right? And it's stable. And so on the software side, it's the same thing. When we got into it, we didn't realize all these different components, but there's like, security and auditing and alerting and different environments. So that's a big component to that we've had to really learn. So essentially, we're kind of walking down the same path we did as MSP, going from OML 1 to OML 5 on the
Yeah.
software side. Where we're walking OML levels on the software side now as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So shifting gears again, we're getting right to our close. PitchIt's been awesome the past couple of years, Sean. It's been seeing everything grow and see the organizations take part of it. But I'm always love hearing, especially just all these contestants that just didn't know PitchIt came into the first year contestants, what they expected the program to be versus what they're actually getting out of it. Because 16 weeks is brutal. And so, Alex, I'm just curious, how'd you get into PitchIt? How'd you hear about it? And then what's your journey been like?
Yeah, I mean, I've been following the program because I've gone to a lot of the IT nations. I missed a couple during COVID. I was virtual, but in general, I've been to a ton. So I've been following it. Right, I was kind of the decision maker in a lot of the software purchases that we made. So I'm always have my ear out on the ground with MSP apps, right? And and definitely I've always like kind of been planning to get here, but we weren't ready yet. So last year we applied and it said, we're going to be ready for this year, and I believe we are. So and it's been an amazing experience, to be honest. It's like a micro HTG or ConnectWise Evolve for the vendor side, where they're teaching you about fundamentals of running a vendor business, and like it's interesting to see what vendors talk about on the background. So definitely helping um, companies, like I guess for vendors, right? Helping vendors pitch it to MSPs, how to communicate to MSPs more effectively. I mean, I know coming from the MSP side, but have some more like formal education by Sean and all the wonderful people that he's brought on has been really powerful. So I love it.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Well, my question is, I mean, because you followed what you said, but did you expect it to be the way it is now? Like now that you're in it?
I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what what the background was, right? So it's the amount of content you guys have created from the kind of the superstars that you've aligned to run some of the pitch it like the weekly sessions. That was an amazing surprise. So that's been wonderful. And then I didn't know about the podcast circuit and all this other stuff. So now people are reaching out to me to schedule podcasts, and so I'm having a lot of fun.
Good. That's good. That's important. And I think you kind of reap the benefit of the last couple of years. If you check out the people that did QBRs the last couple of years,
Mhm.
actually, not to put any stress on you or anything or undue pressure, but the last 2 years, one of the three finalists both years had QBR companies in it.
Yep.
So you're going to probably have to hit a level of that, just saying. But you do reap the benefit of, if you check out what they did, you can actually probably refine your messaging a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm down for that. I'll reach out. I'll find out a way to get some of those old.
Just so you guys know, you might as well look. Oh, just peek your head down. Oh, there he is. There, Grandpa.
Happy birthday.
Father and Sunday here in Atlanta.
And it's Keith's birthday. He can't hear you talking because I have my earbuds in, but it's so it's Keith's 21st birthday. He's gonna have his first real drink today.
And he's going to get me a lady.
Oh boy. Okay. Shifting gears here. So it's been awesome. So PitchIt's it's its own community. Sean's out there right now enjoying his TIA ChannelCon event in the Crow's Nest. And Alex, we'll probably see you at IT Nation Connect, I imagine.
We will. He's sponsoring. Neither he said so. He
I'll
got
have a kiosk in
got
the main area, or the
Awesome.
main
That'd
like
help.
startup alley, I think they call it. Right? Is this still going to be called Startup Alley?
Very cool.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, one last question, Alex, in closing, final thoughts, and then what would you do with your prize money?
So we have a lot of AI initiatives that I believe that we can cut VCIO QBR prep time by like 80%. So we already have a proof of concept of it running, where basically you can. And my vision is a client gets onboarded, and with an AI assistant that knows the standards of the MSP, knows the vision and what the MSP likes to do for clients, the AI assistant helps fill out a report, and then a VCIO spends most of their time just communicating with clients and helping deliver the vision and helping kind of paint the picture of the future. So that's what we're going to do with the money.
Nice.
Awesome. Sean, closing thoughts. I know it's been a busy time for you.
It's well, you know what though? What that just adds to the closing thoughts itself.
Oh, hey, you just disconnected.
The hotel Wi-Fi. The joys of hotel Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
On the road.
Well, I'll close for him. I'll close for him. So it's been so Sean is actually at ChannelCon CompTIA event, and I will be joining. I'll be heading out to IT Nation Evolve. So I know you're wearing an HTG shirt, so I might see you out there.
I want to be there
Alex.
next year. I want to. We sponsored Evolve 1 year, and then I want to get back into sponsoring Evolve because that community I think is magic.
Yep,
Love
for sure.
Guys.
Absolutely. And so it's been a pleasure working with you. Check out Strategy Overview. Go to strategyoverview.com, what they have going on, and really great product. Appreciate it. Thank you, Alex, for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yep. Right.